I'm Harper Lynn. 1 year ago, I walked out of a glass tower in Manhattan with an ultrasound photo in my pocket and a shattered heart in my chest. The man I loved chose power, ambition, and left me behind, with two unborn lives growing inside me. I had nothing, just pain, a car, and a fragile hope of finding a place I could call home. But you won't believe where that road has taken me since. Before I share my story, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Hit like and subscribe if you've ever weathered a storm for the sake of family. Trust me, you'll want to hear what happened next. The ultrasound photo burned in my coat pocket as I rode the elevator to the 47th floor. My hands wouldn't stop shaking, not from the December cold seeping through the glass walls of Wayland & Sons, but from what I was about to do. Daniel would be thrilled. We'd talked about this, about our future, about the family we'd build after he secured the Hudson Yards project. I found him in his corner office, Manhattan, sprawling beneath us like a promise. He didn't look up from his blueprints. "I need to tell you something," I said. "If it's about the Morrison account, I already approved your designs." His voice was distant, mechanical. "I'm pregnant." The pencil in his hand stilled. When he finally looked at me, his eyes were winter. "That's impossible. You're on birth control." "It failed. These things happen. No." He stood, straightening his Italian suit. "No, Harper, not now. The senator's daughter. The announcement is next week. You know what this project means." I pulled out the ultrasound. "This is our baby, Daniel." He didn't reach for it. "I'll arrange for the best clinic. We can handle this quietly." The city lights blurred. "Handle this?" "Don't be naive. You knew what this was." He returned to his blueprints. "I have a meeting in 10 minutes. I left the ultrasound on his desk. By the time I reached the lobby, snow was falling. I didn't go back to his penthouse. I drove south until the skyline disappeared. 3 days later, I stood in my late aunt's house in Asheville, North Carolina. The Victorian needed work, peeling paint, sagging porch, ghosts in every corner. Perfect. I needed something to fix that wasn't myself. The town was small enough that everyone knew everyone, which meant everyone would know about the pregnant woman who'd moved into the old Brennan place. I kept my head down, bought groceries at odd hours, and threw myself into renovation plans. Then came the library project. "Ms. Lynn," the contractor studied his tablet, "says here you're the interior designer selected for the Asheville library restoration." I hadn't applied for any local jobs. "There must be a mistake." "No mistake. Approved by the main office. Some company called..." He squinted. "WNS Holdings." My blood chilled. Wayland & Sons. Had Daniel found me already? But why offer me work? I needed the money. Pride was a luxury I couldn't afford with a baby coming. "When do I start?" The library was a mess of water damage and broken dreams. I lost myself in fabric samples and paint chips, pretending my back didn't ache, that my ankles weren't swelling. The baby moved constantly now, reminding me I wasn't alone even when I felt most isolated. "You're Harper, aren't you?" I looked up from my sketches to find a woman with silver hair and kind eyes. "I'm Ruth. I run the bookshop next door." "Nice to meet you." I turned back to my work, hoping she'd take the hint. She didn't. "You're about 6 months along?" "7. First baby?" I nodded, not trusting my voice. "I lost mine," Ruth said quietly. 32 years ago. Stillborn. Full term." She touched my shoulder. "You look like you could use a friend." I broke. Right there in the dusty library, I sobbed into a stranger's arms. Ruth held me like I imagined a mother would, asking no questions, offering no judgment. Ruth became my anchor. She'd appear with herbal tea and homemade soup, never pushing, just present. We worked side by side, me on the library, her sorting donated books. "The project's been delayed," the contractor informed me one November morning. "Orders from New York, something about design approval." My chest tightened. Daniel was playing games. But why? He'd made his choice clear. That night, the first contractions hit. Too early. 28 weeks was too early. Ruth drove me to the hospital as I gripped the door handle, terror replacing pain. "They can't come now. It's too soon." Breathe, honey. Just breathe. The hospital room became a blur of monitors and medical terms. Preeclampsia, emergency cesarean, NICU, words that meant nothing and everything. I woke to a nurse's gentle voice. Would you like to meet your sons? Sons, plural, Eli and Miles. 3 pounds each, too small for the names I'd chosen. The NICU was another planet. Machines breathing for babies too weak to cry. Alarms that meant life or death. Parents who moved like ghosts between incubators. Miles has a heart defect, Dr. Gray explained. Nathan Gray, I recognized him from college, though he was kinder now, worn down by years of saving tiny lives. We'll need to operate when he's stronger. I lived in that ward, learned to change diapers through incubator holes, to read oxygen levels and heart rates, to celebrate ounces gained. Ruth brought me clean clothes and forced me to eat. She never mentioned the calls from New York I'd been ignoring. 3 weeks in, I found Daniel in the hallway. How? Was all I managed. The library project. I've been monitoring it. He looked older, hollowed out. Twins? Leave. Harper? You didn't want this baby. Babies. You don't get to be here now. I have rights. You have nothing. I turned away, but not before I saw the lawyer behind him. Of course, Daniel Wayland didn't do anything without legal backup. He didn't leave. I'd see him talking to Nathan, charming the nurses, learning medical terms with the focus he'd once reserved for building codes. He'd materialized an apartment nearby, his Armani replaced with jeans and exhaustion. Why are you here? I confronted him during a rare moment alone. They're my sons. Since when? Since it became convenient? Since your engagement fell through? Since I saw their names on the patient board and counted backwards. His voice cracked. Since I realized what I'd thrown away. I wanted to hate him, needed to hate him, but hate required energy I didn't have. Miles needed surgery in 2 days. Nothing else mattered. The night before the operation, I found Daniel in the chapel. He was crying, silent, shoulders shaking sobs that made him look 22 again, young and terrified. If he dies, I couldn't finish. He won't. Daniel reached for my hand. He's tough, like his mom. I let him hold my hand. Just for that night. Miles survived. 6 hours of surgery, then days of watching, waiting, praying to whoever might listen. Eli grew stronger, but I was falling apart. The nurses started watching me too closely. Ruth forced me to eat. Daniel started taking night shifts so I could sleep. I woke once to find him singing, to Miles. Some lullaby his mother must have taught him before she died, before his father turned him into a corporate machine. I pretended to sleep, not ready to acknowledge this version of Daniel. Ms. Lynn, a social worker appeared one morning. We need to discuss your living situation. The babies will need a stable environment when they're discharged. My aunt's house had no heat in the nursery. The stairs were too steep. The nearest hospital was 30 minutes away. I had no answers, only problems. She'll be living with me, Daniel said from the doorway. I've purchased a house on Birch Lane, single story, fully renovated, near the hospital. I haven't agreed to anything. It's for them, he said quietly. Not us, just for them. I moved in on a Thursday. The house was perfect. Everything I would have designed myself. A nursery with 2 cribs, monitoring equipment, a rocking chair by the window. Daniel had thought of everything except what we were to each other. Your room's at the end of the hall, he said. I'm in the guest room. We can work out a schedule. Daniel, I touched his arm. Thank you. He nodded, fled to his room. We were polite strangers sharing a roof and 2 fragile lives. The twins came home on a cold January morning. Eli first, then Miles 2 weeks later. Real life began. Feedings every 3 hours, medications for Miles, appointments with specialists. Daniel and I moved around each other like dancers who'd forgotten the steps. But slowly, something shifted. He'd make coffee exactly how I liked it. I'd find his favorite takeout when he forgot to eat. We'd pass babies between us without words, knowing who needed what. At 3 a.m., delirious with exhaustion, we'd laugh at nothing. share stories, remember who we'd been before pride and pain rewrote us. I fired the lawyer, he told me one night as we watched the twins sleep. Why? Because I'm not going anywhere. Neither are you. We'll figure this out. Nathan visited less frequently, always professional, always slightly sad. Ruth, however, practically lived with us. She taught Daniel to swaddle, showed me how to soothe Miles's colic. Family, I realized, wasn't always blood. I need to tell you something, Ruth said one evening after the twins were down. About Daniel. My walls went up. What about him? I was his godmother. His mother was my best friend. She pulled out an old photo, a younger Ruth with a beautiful woman holding a baby, Daniel. When she died, his father cut me out, said I reminded him too much of her. I've watched Daniel from afar for 20 years. Does he know? No, and I'd prefer it stays that way. But Harper, that boy has been broken since he was 5. What he's doing now, choosing you and the boys over everything, it's the first real thing he's done in decades. That night, I found Daniel on the porch, staring at nothing. Your father called, he said. Wants me back. Says he'll forgive everything if I come home, marry the senator's daughter. The company needs me. My heart stopped. And I told him to go to hell. He laughed, but it was hollow. First time I've ever told him no. What will you do? Learn to be a father, a real one. He looked at me then, really looked at me. If you'll let me. Spring came slowly. The twins grew stronger. Miles' heart functioned normally. A miracle, Nathan said. Eli smiled first, then Miles. Daniel caught it on camera, crying openly at their grins. We fell into rhythm. Not love, not yet, but something deeper. Partnership, trust. The gradual rebuilding of what we'd destroyed. He taught me about load-bearing walls. I taught him about color theory. We renovated the sunroom together, the twins watching from their bouncy seats. I have something to tell you, Daniel said one April morning. We were feeding the boys, sunlight streaming through windows we'd installed together. If it's another secret relative, I can't handle it. No, well, maybe. He set down Eli's bottle. I bought Ruth's building, the bookshop. I was going to tear it down, build senior housing. Name it after your mom. I stared. What? Before the twins, when I first found you here, I thought if I did something good, something for you, maybe I'd stop feeling so empty. He wouldn't meet my eyes. I never went through with it. Ruth's shop is safe. You were going to build something for my mother? You never even met her. I met you. That was enough. I kissed him. Not passionate, not desperate. Soft. A beginning. Summer brought first steps and first words. Mama from Eli, Dada from Miles, equal distribution like they'd planned it. Daniel's father disowned him officially, cutting him from the will. Daniel framed the letter. Free at last, he said, then took the boys to the park. Nathan found love with a pediatric nurse. He sent a letter before moving to Boston. Be happy, you deserve it. P.S. Daniel's secret is that he's kept every design you ever sketched, even from college. Check his office closet. I did. Hundreds of my drawings, dating back years. Ideas I'd forgotten. Dreams I'd abandoned. Daniel had saved them all. Why? I asked him that night. Because they were yours. Because even when I was too stupid to choose you, I couldn't let you go completely. We made love for the first time since that December night. Slow, careful, like we were different people now. We were. The twins' first birthday approached like a gift. Ruth insisted on hosting at the bookshop. Full circle, she said, though only I understood. The morning of the party, I found Daniel in the nursery, photo album in hand. He'd been documenting everything. First baths, first foods, first everythings. But the last page made me stop. A photo from the NICU. Daniel holding Eli, me cradling Miles. We looked destroyed. We looked like parents. We looked like family. I want to add one more, he said, pulling out his phone. Current family photo? We gathered the boys, now walking and babbling. Ruth took the picture. Later, Nathan arrived with his fiancée. The bookshop filled with nurses who'd saved our sons, contractors who'd built our home, neighbors who'd become friends. "Speech!" someone called. Daniel stood, awkward, without a boardroom. "I'm not good at this, but thank you for helping us. He looked at me. "For showing me that some broken things are worth fixing, that sometimes you have to tear everything down to build it right." "To building it right," I added, raising my juice cup. "To second chances," Ruth whispered, "just for us." That night, after cake and chaos, we sat on the porch of our Birch Lane house. The boys slept upstairs, monitors confirming steady heartbeats. Daniel pulled out a small box. "It's not what you think," he said quickly. "Open it." Inside were 2 keys. "What are these?" "The library. I bought it. The whole building. It's yours. Your design firm. Your chance to build something beautiful." "Daniel, no strings, no conditions. Just let me give you this. Let me give you your dreams back." I ugly cried. Months of holding it together, being strong, and I broke over 2 keys and possibility. "Yes," I said. "To the keys, to the firm, to everything." "Everything? Don't push it. We're not there yet. But we're somewhere. We're somewhere." He pulled me close. Inside, one of the boys cried out. Bad dream, probably. We both stood, then laughed. "Rock, paper, scissors," I suggested. "I'll go. You went last time." This was us now. Not perfect, not healed, but healing, building something new on the ruins of what we'd broken. One day, one choice, one breath at a time. December again, full circle. I stood in my library, my design firm now, watching snow fall. The restoration was complete, all warm woods and soft light. My team of 3 worked quietly, young designers who believed in second chances. Daniel appeared with lunch and the boys, now toddling terrors who'd discovered the word no. "Mama's work," Miles announced, pointing at everything. "Mama's beautiful work," Daniel corrected, setting out sandwiches. We ate surrounded by blueprints and baby toys. Eli dozed against Daniel's chest while Miles practiced walking between us. Normal. Beautifully, impossibly normal. "I love you," Daniel said suddenly. First time since everything fell apart. "I know we're taking it slow. I know I have years of proving myself ahead. But I love you. All 3 of you. My family." I thought about the woman in that glass tower, ultrasound burning her pocket, heartbreaking with each floor descended. She couldn't have imagined this. Couldn't have dreamed that destruction could lead to construction, that some endings were actually beginnings. "I know," I said. Then, because he'd waited long enough, because forgiveness was a choice I made daily, because love wasn't just a feeling, but an action. "I love you too." Spring brought an unexpected visitor. Daniel's father stood on our porch, older, smaller than I remembered. "I'd like to meet them," he said simply. "My grandsons." Daniel's jaw set. "Why?" "Because I'm dying. Pancreatic cancer. 3 months, maybe 6. He looked at me. "I was wrong. About everything. About you. About what matters." I touched Daniel's arm. His choice, but I'd support it. "1 hour," Daniel said. "Supervised. If you upset them, you leave." It was awkward, painful. But watching the old man's face soften as Eli showed him a favorite truck, as Miles climbed into his lap, something shifted. Not forgiveness. Not yet, but possibility. He left his estate to the boys. Daniel donated it to build a children's hospital wing, the Wayland Center for Pediatric Cardiac Care. Miles cut the ribbon with safety scissors. Time moved differently now, measured in milestones and quiet moments. The boys started preschool. Daniel joined a small architecture firm, designing homes instead of skyscrapers. I expanded my business, hired more broken people ready to rebuild. Ruth officially adopted us all, becoming the grandmother the boys needed. Nathan visited from Boston, godfather to both twins. The family we'd built from ashes and determination. "Remember when you left?" Daniel asked one night. We'd finally shared the whole story with each other. Every hurt, every moment of those lost months. December 15th, 8:47 p.m. "I looked for you, hired investigators. Not to drag you back, just to know you were safe. Why didn't you try harder?" When you found me. Because you were right to leave. I needed to earn my way back. Still do, every day. You know you have me now, right? Us? This is it. We're your family. I know. He pulled me closer. Want to make it official? Daniel Wayland, is that a proposal? It's a question. No pressure, no timeline. Just, would you, someday? Ask me again next December 15th, 8:47 p.m. That's specific? Full circle. I like symbols. He kissed my forehead. I'll wait. The photo album grew thicker. First days of kindergarten, lost teeth, art projects covering our refrigerator, normal problems, tantrums over vegetables, battles about bedtime. I'd lie awake sometimes, listening to their breathing, still unable to believe we'd made it here. December 15th came faster than expected. Daniel recreated everything. Snow fell outside, the boys with Ruth for the night. But instead of a cold office, we stood in our kitchen, place of 1,000 small moments. Harper he began, then stopped. No, let me say this right. You saved me, not the other way around. I was drowning in that tower, in that life, and you saved me by leaving, by forcing me to choose, by showing me what actually mattered. Daniel, the boys saved me too. Every day they save me. From being my father. From being who I was. He knelt, pulled out a simple band. Marry me. Not because we should. Because I can't imagine any other life than this one. Because you're my home. Yes, I said, not crying, definitely crying. But I have a condition. Anything. We keep the house on Birch Lane, no matter what. Always, it's where we became us. We married in Ruth's bookshop, surrounded by stories of other lives, other chances. The boys were ring bearers, though Miles ate his pillow and Eli threw his. Nathan officiated, having gotten ordained online for the occasion. Perfect in its imperfection. I'd written vows, but forgot them. Spoke from my heart instead. You're not who I fell in love with at 22. Thank God. You're better. Broken and rebuilt. Like this family. Like me. I choose you. Choose us. Choose this life we've made from nothing but stubbornness and hope. Daniel's were simpler. Thank you for our sons, for our life, for teaching me that love isn't words but actions. I promise to keep choosing you, every morning, every difficult day, every joyful moment, forever. Ruth cried. The boys escaped their handlers, running to us mid-kiss. We lifted them up, 4 people making one unit, one home, one future. The photographer caught it, that moment of pure joy, hard won and harder kept. Later, I'd frame it, hang it in the hallway of our Birch Lane house, between pictures of who we'd been and who we were becoming. Not all wounds heal with time, but some wounds lead you home, to faces you never expected to love, forgiveness you never thought you'd grant, a life built not from perfection, but from the beautiful wreckage of what came before. We were home, all of us, finally, home.
Not everyone gets a second chance, but if you do, build from the heart, not the hurt. Real love isn't perfect. It's a daily choice, even after everything falls apart. Believe this, even from ruins, a home can rise.